Oh boy. Okay. Took me like a minute to decide if I was going to press the button or not. It's like, Brandy, should you do it? Should you? Should you go live? And I was like, all right. I was working on some stuff. I don't know if you can see that from there. Let's see. So much more. But yeah. It's one of my get downs. I paint. I'm an artiste. Okay, I do plenty things. Okay. Anywho, make sure my chair's back here because if I would have sat down, this slide would have been over after I got up off the ground. Okay. Right. Anywho, as soon as I decide to sit down, then I decide that I'm thirsty. Shit. Give me a second. Don't mind. I'm in my artiste area right now. So what's going on here? Okay. And then I forgot to put everything in the refrigerator. Did I? Yes, I did. Who allowed me to forget this? I blame it on somebody. Something's missing. I know I haven't lost my mind, but I'm almost sure that I brought I just say I'm almost sure. But you know what? I will let that slide right now. I'll let that slide right now. That's so weird. I think my son came in here and straight gaffled. It's frozen. I'm not going to be on here very long. I'm really not. Yeah, so I was just been doing some art and up there some of those are like structures. So that's what's going on right now. Just been so it's called the art studio right now. But yeah, I built structures. I started like years ago, right? Where I the school that I worked at before the pandemic. I got into like when I started painting, then I got into building like little structures, right? Because I like people that know me know I like mini stuff. Like, let's see if I can find anything right in front of me that's like a mini version of something. Well, I can show you the big version of something, right? Would be this guys here, and then the playing cards is more over there, right? And yeah, I can't think of anything mini right now, but yeah. So I started making these mini structures, and so when I was working at the school, what I did was I created structures that looked like everyone's classroom. Yeah, looked like everyone's classroom. So, like the principal, she also was a math teacher, and so I would go to like Walmart, well, Amazon, and then like Walmart, and to get like these pieces of like wood. Walmart's so amazing when it comes to this stuff, and like I would find stuff like mini chalkboards, but whatever she was into was in her classroom. That's what it looked like. The little chemistry set with the little, the little, parts. If you're like, chemist, the chalkboard, looked like her classroom. And then the male teacher, think he was like history or black studies teacher or something. Well, I made his structure like in the middle it was like this big kind of like wooden book, and it was colored with African colors. And then there's a chair, and I have pictures. I'll show them. I'll put them up. Some of them are on my site. Put them up later. And then I did one for the lady in the office, like the office. Um, Let me see. I did one for another teacher. Hers is really cute. It was like a theme of Minnie Mouse or Mickey Mouse. And so then there was this one teacher that wanted, I made her one that kind of looked like her classroom, right? And then also she asked me, I remember we were going on spring break. She said, she loved Alice in Wonderland. She said, can you do me something like this? But a structure like kind of like Alice in Wonderland. So I was like, cool, did that. And so that's what I did. Like I really checked it out. I had like water fountain. I had the table, and you know what I mean. Kind of add my little spin on it, and then put the little cat. I did the damn thing. Okay, and but my favorite was um, there were two favorites I had, and this was just the whole school, but I did more. Like I have these here, and then I did some that I gave to my students. My favorite one was for the first grade. We're doing second grade and first grade at that time is G. Yeah. So that's the classroom I was like in. That was where my students were. Uh, and in her classroom, we had the clip chart, like from the yellow, red, and orange. I think were like the colors you didn't want to get on, and the pink, the purple, and the blue, and all that stuff. So I had those. I actually have some of that structure too in the mini, like a mini classroom with the carpet that they sit on in the morning, the carpet, the different spots that was in there, the chalkboard, the tables, the desks, like everything. Right? It looked just like that in that exact classroom. And out of everybody, I think she loved hers the most. Actually, I definitely got to put that picture up because we did take a picture in the classroom with that model and one of the students. And I remember one time one of the students like was running around or playing around and like knocked it over, and she was so upset, right? And it was fine, it didn't mess up too much, but I did take it home and like fix it up a little bit more, but it wasn't too bad. But she was just so mad because she loved that thing, and I appreciated her for that. Uh, because I was really into doing those things, but it's not like I did them like really fast, but I kind of did, but they were pretty dope. Um, uh, so yeah, that one, and then the one I did for the dance instructor, Miss Claudia, because I made hers look like what do you call it? Auditory, like a stage. So you have the stage, and there's some stairs that go up, and then you have the microphone, and then you come down, and then I had a walkway, and then on the sides for seats and things like that. And I painted all the stuff, did all the stuff too, and built it from scratch, the little furniture and everything. So that's something I'm into. So a little later, and then I'll put some up. I think I have some on my website. I can bring those closer. Yeah. So that too. I remember doing a 2-story one time. I was like, I wonder if I can do like a big house. And so I did. I also did at one point I was building a church, and that's only because I had this wooden cross. I was like, I'm gonna do it, right? But I ended up taking that down. That's up there. And I turned it into something else. I did one for a friend of mine where I made it into like his studio apartment, at the toilet, the bedroom, all that shit, the kitchen. Uh, what's some other ones? Like the other one up there is a classroom. Yeah. So yeah. Um, and actually what I've been doing now is creating mini like game boards and stuff. So I've always been like craftsy and into arts and stuff like that, and draw kind of like my own little. I have this thing I do where I used to draw outlines, these like model like ladies, and they had their own style and name and all that stuff. They're pretty dope. I made like a book out of it. And my mom, she was a drawer, sewer, and all that stuff too. So she was really, pretty sure that's where I picked it up from. She's really good at what she did, and she was very supportive of me growing up. And whatever I love to do, like, I love to draw, write poetry. So she would always, tell me, and she's the reason why I even used to consider like protecting my work, right? Because she tell me like to keep it safe because I won a contest, years ago. I sent in poetry, and they sent it to me and said, "Okay, check the corrections and things," and they were gonna publish it in this book and stuff like that. I don't even know if I ever told my mom about that because I was a little bit older, but I think I was like out of high school or something like that, fresh out or maybe I think. And it was a poem that I still have to this day that I actually rebirthed. It's called Yesterday. Then I had another poem that was put in when I was going to Patrick Henry that they put in the like the school newsletter or magazine, whatever it was. And that was called Natural Woman. And I was like, what, 16, 17? Well, that was already up on it, right? Um, let's see. So yeah. But yeah, so my mom, she really supported me in all those things. Even from when I was really young. When I was very young, I used to have a thing for drawing. She put me in drawing contest, but I had a thing for drawing because I used to love SeaWorld. And at that time in San Diego, we used to have those blimps. Like they have the Goodyear blimp and all that stuff. I would always make the blimp and put SeaWorld on it. And then, put it there. It was my thing and stuff. And I won. So, and I like to write stories and stuff like that. I'm in the midst. Well, I have 2 ebooks, poetry ebooks, working on another one, 2 more. And I wouldn't say in the process, but shortly, soon developing some content, publishing some things about my mother. That one's not easy, but yeah. So on that note, so just wanted to share a little bit of that with you guys since that's, I was just sitting here with my little piece of art and things like that, and little pieces of Brandy J before I get into the shit right now that we're going to talk about. No, really. Let It Go. I like that title because it reminds me of my song Frozen. Elsa. Was it Anna? Elsa. Let It Go. Yeah, some people do. Like a lot of shit. Cause I was just thinking, right? We think that we have it all figured out sometimes, and we think what we know is what we know because we were probably brought up that way or something of the sort, but we never really sit back and think like, where did I get these values from? Why do I think this way? Is what I'm thinking even really lining up with what is real in this world? Because if you're paying attention, I would hope that you are, but if not, that's what some people are just playing their role. They're seat warmers, like in real life. But if you're paying attention, common sense would lead you to know that damn near 90-something%, not all, of things that we've learned were lies. Some people say, no, they weren't. First of all, I know, but they didn't teach critical thinking. How would you know? You were told the shit. It's not like a lot of stuff that we be claiming that is so real and true that we be like about to put our life on. We weren't even there. We just believe it because that's the way it was sold to us. So the way it was sold to us, if that was really true, I guess that would make sense. But you have to ask yourself, how would I know if it's true or not really? But if the way it was told to you, if it was really that way, those things probably, it makes sense to you. But you got to like do your critical thinking and even a little deep, because people don't know what critical thinking is. I promise you, it just baffles me when you can just Google it. Literally, you can trust her for that, and you go to a educated person, a teacher, or whatever. You're going to get the same shit. Okay, it's not hard thinking. The critical doesn't mean critical in critical thinking. It's like it doesn't mean the same thing as critical condition, right? Critical care. No, it means critical thinking. You have to think critically. So it's a whole process. It's not like something you do in 5 minutes. This is stages to it. It's not innate. And that means like it's not you don't something that's in you. It's a skill you have to learn. Right. I would know this because I actually, knew that they didn't teach this shit in school because John D. Rockefeller took it out for a very good reason to dumb us down. So he said if we didn't think, we didn't know shit, they would be easier to control us. They didn't teach you that in school, but you could find it. So I don't know what the problem is. But once you get that gist, then you can figure out the fucking rest and look around and say, oh shit, yeah, that's why people do a lot of dumbass shit. Spoke of all of it, the entertainment, the TV, all that stuff to distract you. But yeah, here we are. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess when people got out of high school, they said they're good, or college, whatever. Like, I'm wise, I'm smart, I'm good, got a good career, a job. I'm like, and yet, here we are. Here we are. You just did. Everybody. We know how to take information, receive it, and then act it out. I mean, it is what it is. When people walk around here like acting like a degree and all that shit that they did. Like, I got this and that, and I want that great job. And don't get me wrong, because I went to school and educated, went to college and all that stuff. But I know the system, and I'm aware, and I keep myself aware, and I don't fool myself because, or just believe anything just because of the position of the person that told me. I don't care if you're the Pope, I don't care if you're a pastor, I don't care what you're still a person. I don't know you, and you could be lying. So, right? The doctor, the teacher, and what's your point? Right? So these strong beliefs that we walk around holding and things like that are really somebody else's, not even our own thoughts or thinking, it's somebody else's shit. You know, the people, think that's the right to be a hard worker in America and get a career, a job, and get your retire and do this, and that. And they like really wash the fuck out of your brain because that was all a structure because they control that shit. It's not yours. They about to change the currency, so paper going out. So if you didn't know that shit, or you thought that was conspiracy theory, then you don't know what conspiracy theory is. um, yeah. So that being said, why do we be on everybody else's shit, trying to tell them how to do, what to do, when to do, and we don't even hold ourselves accountable? Like sit down and say, like, do I even know what the hell I'm talking about? No. People don't do that because they got that enabler or disabler called pride, and that shit will screw you 5 ways from tomorrow. Is that pride stuff, and people wear that shit. It's only obvious. People don't want to be wrong. Or people don't want to this or don't want to be wrong. All that shit that means nothing if you can't just be you and be okay with it and admit that you don't know something or maybe you've been doing it wrong, right? Like this is the part that don't make sense to me also. People sit there and say, oh, this education system is so blah, 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 blah. They do something about it, but do nothing. And then we're using the same education system now than before. So while you're pushing that education, you just, all you're doing is indoctrinating again and again and again. And there's people older than me, way older than me, that don't even pick up on this shit or realize it or even believe it because I guess books are a style or something. I don't know. Or they didn't know it. And let me tell you something, for the simple-minded that think just because they didn't hear about it or they don't know it, so don't make it true, it proves my point of the thinking. Right? Like that's got to be like a squirrel just to every day just be in that mindset of work, gotta go to work, gotta do it, gotta pay the rent, gotta work. Man, you think that's that's why we're here? Or some people just feel like, what can I do? Or they don't even know they are supposed to be doing anything because this is normal, this is life. This the dream to get my own, to get this great job and slave away and shit like that, right? And why I say this is because that's what we here in America or United States, because that would be the one we're employees to. But anybody gonna go read to find that out? Okay, that's the difference. You know that saying when people say, for black folks, they hide things in books because they know you're not gonna read them. I can't really say I disagree with it because I'm telling you, I don't be seeing nobody reading. And then when you bring up reading, it's like, who reads? But yet we still send our kids to school and off to college and shit. But we don't want to educate ourselves. And if we did that, then you'd probably be a little bit more woke on what the hell colleges are really providing. Because I know thousands, tons of people that are working regular trying to pay off their debts. I mean, I went to school for medical MA, medical assistant, and also business, right? And that shit's still lingering on me right now. So I knew how that works. So they love throwing that shit at you. They be like, we got money. And Grant goes, no, I don't want your money. Keep that shit because you're messing up my credit. My credit is more valuable than that grant you're trying to give to me that you're not going to let me wait to pay off after I get into the field, but I was able to do my thing because I'm smart, right? I know the game, I know the system. I know that education was coined as a business because before that, there was, you know what I mean? It wasn't always sitting up in schools. People were sitting up in schools learning stuff. People were already doing the things that they're making people go to school for now, and that people couldn't even get a hold of the things that they needed to create whatever they were creating. Like some of the things that we use today that's created by Black folks. Yeah. Black folks didn't even know about their own Black folks. Stuff they didn't teach you. But once we knew that, how come we didn't try to teach ourselves? It's kind of hard when you're indoctrinated into a system and they brainwash that to make you think this is the norm. But prior to when I started to talk about this, I was thinking about something, right? Something I had been hearing or just acknowledging, seeing it get kind of worse, and then think how it's just always kind of been, and then listen to a very wise man, right? Made lots of sense. Uh, you know how, and I've been hearing this overly now. You know how I'm just gonna say how it is, how it's been sold. How men a lot overly doing it now have been writing women about if they're not being married or their value is running low, or if they're a single mom, and there's all this, or the independent woman, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't do no wrong, or you don't got kids, or you got too many kids, or you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I don't know. Some people, I think Kevin Slade was really had the people are feeling themselves, but and some, the goodness of their hearts are coming from a good place, and as a lot do, because we don't know no better, right? But like in some cultures, this is how it is. And then for me, I was thinking like for some of it, I was like, yeah, it's cool. Like being submissive, right? Like I'm more of a submissive to the man I choose to be with because he's a man, and I don't want like someone that's not gonna do his manly stuff. You know what I mean? I want a man. I don't want nobody that I can, not even saying that I would, you understand? But if I could, or if I somehow did, I wouldn't be with somebody that wouldn't even think that they could tell me to slow my roll. You know what I mean? Like, hey, right? And not in a way where some people get outrageous with it, like if just because a man is, like dominant, masculine, like they're like barbaric and shit and abusive, and that's not true. It's just in a man's role. That's why we're different. Because, I mean, it don't take, I guess it do take common sense, but it don't take common sense to know that there's a complete utter difference between a man and a woman. I mean, I can't even talk to nobody that couldn't even agree with that shit. That's like, you know what I mean? Saying the Sanders in the nose on my face. I don't even understand that stupidity. But yeah. So for me, that's cool. If a husband, I have a man in my life, I don't want to run the I don't want to be, in his role or equal. Like no, I want you to be a man because that's why I got with you, because I like men. You know what I mean? I don't want no girl, no woman. So that would be like, you know what I mean? Like, so I know the difference and the role, the roles that are played, right? That's one thing, right? But that's on like a agreement thing, like, and then there's some people that are just different and they like what they like. Okay, whatever. Not saying that I agree with all of it, and some of it's kind of weird, but we're just gonna stick to the basics right now, to the shit that makes sense. Um, Now, so as far as like the women that are on that whole freaking female power starts shit where we don't need a man, independence, 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 and then when they like throw that out there about their careers and how now they can't find anybody to match them because they done did all this, and that, and then you got the narrative that women wouldn't have to do that, and men was doing this, and that, and then you got these men out here just overly saying like, always riding on the women that choose their career. It's like now you're not going to have any value, and most men want a woman that's younger so they can have a baby, or if you don't want any babies, then it's like, well, that's what you're supposed to do as a woman, and blah blah yada, and then it's like, okay, the single mom's like, it's all your fault because you're destroying black men and all this shit, right? When nowhere, well, really nowhere. These are all people's thoughts, beliefs, and how they feel things should go. To be honest with you, right? Because this is the way I see it. Number one, not all men and women are the same. So any man that's sitting out here clumping and saying, you women, you need to go back to school and use your, get it right. A few, some, whatever, but you're failing epically because that's not even an educated comment because you don't know all women. Okay? Now I'm turned off. So think about what comes out of your mouth. Stop saying shit that don't make sense. Like, think about it before you say it. That's why people be confused and be arguing, can't communicate because they ain't using proper definitions. They want to use words the way they want to use it, and they haven't really thought out what the hell they even talking about, right? And if you're not going to be clear, if you're not going to use any clarity, then what the hell are you doing out here talking for anyway? So stop talking. But if you're going to, then you might want to brush up on some shit and make sure you get your shit tight if you're trying to send a message. Because if not, then you're just out here talking to be talking and wasting, just exposing yourself to the ignorance that most of us suffer from. And ignorance, all that means is, if you the first beginning, ignore, it means when we ignore knowing or learning something. It's like not like a bad thing, like, oh, you're ignorant. It can sting a little the way some people put it, and it doesn't mean the NIGGER. I don't know where that came from. But once again, we just believe anything, right? Without doing any homework ourselves. But anyways, back to this whole shabako here, right? So when men are out here telling women what their worth is or isn't, right? And that I was watching this one video the other day where the girl was like, I'd do anything to be home with my baby, but I gotta work, I gotta do this. And then the other guy, he's like, that's right, but stop acting like you don't say it. And the only way that would be possible if you had a man at home to protect you, and you want him. And she's like, I'd do anything to have a man. And I was thinking in my head, and there was a high five, and I was like, but she did what the baby dad, where he at, I was thinking that, what I mean, because it was like she'd do anything, like, and they were like, you need a man, but maybe I'm missing something here, right? But their whole thing was about women either acting like their worth is just up here, or talking about how they think they don't need a man, they're independent, and they can do it all by themselves, right? Well, this is the thing, I think, right? I don't think anybody knows what the fuck they're talking about. Because the end and the beginning of the day, while we out here critiquing motherfuckers and telling them how the design of what a woman or a man should be and what they should be doing, and you need a man, right? And if you're not trying to have babies, that's what you would hear. You're supposed to have baby and have family and all that shit. And I don't know if anywhere in here I hear the word love, right? I don't think I do, because half people don't know what love is. and they think that a lot of us think we do because our parents loved us and this and that, and they didn't know love because generation to generation. I don't think we truly know what real true love is, because if you ain't met the Son, you know the Word in flesh, so that you can get to the Father. But that's a whole other story, right? I'm still kind of baffled how people just be saying, God, just talking to you, huh? Just gonna skip over Jesus, huh? Remember that whole thing? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You ain't ready for that. But just go ahead and check out my YouTube channel and click on that show, that episode called "The Word Became Flesh." Anywho, I don't think anybody knows what the hell they're talking about, right? Because when I was sitting there thinking, right, and I was listening, and I ain't gonna lie, it was Dr. Sabi, and he was saying something about his mom, what his mom told him, and I was like totally connected to it, because I was like, yeah, right. Like, why you men are out here telling women like what they need and how they should be doing it, and they need a man, and this and that, how it's supposed to be. You know what? You don't really know what you're talking about. Grandma, mama all taught you that. It was passed down generation to generation. Fine, just say that's how the norm. That's how it is. I guess how we think it is. I'm humble enough to say I don't know, because it's really I'm smart enough to know that, right? That just because we learn stuff or adopt certain ways of doing things doesn't mean that that's the, you know what I mean? Like, because what I'm trying to say is, it's very obvious through generations that we're supposed to progress, not regress, but we learn things that maybe our mothers and fathers didn't pass down. They stopped where they had to stop at, and then we carry on the torch, and then hopefully we gotta do the homework and make sure that what we are giving our kids is not some more bullshit like the debt that we've been passed down from our parents, from their parents. You know what I mean? If you know about that kind of thing, that's what the certificates, the debt, right? Passing down, our what we think is the right way when it comes to wealth or health or money. You know what I mean? And selling this indoctrination and saying yes into the system, and so they can program and process you too, because that's what's happening. And you can't tell me it's not, because what the fuck are you doing different? You're sitting through the same shit you went through, the same schooling, the same this, the same, the whole thing, right? So yeah, okay. And a lot of us don't be knowing the truth, and it be right there in books or under your nose or your Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. But anywho, so on that note, I was just thinking, like, how come these professionals, so-called professionals, you know, wherever they got their professional, we know how it's supposed to go, you know, degree. How come we don't understand that the first love that's ever going to be needed or important in your life to, before you depend on a man or a woman to give you that happiness, or shit, your mother, your brother, your cousin, is yourself, self-love. And that's what be missing from these conversations and stuff. In actuality, I think I've like heard when that was insinuated from, if not too much, from time to time, someone say, You're finding your shit. You're trying to get to know yourself, right? Like that was stupid. And that's why people shouldn't be out here trying to give people advice, because that shit is stupid, actually. Because you should know yourself, understand yourself, and love yourself. Love yourself. Because let me tell you something about this stupid shit now. Now it's getting irritating about these so-called psychologists and shit. The thing is, you keep pushing this shit, telling women they should be married, they need the family, the man, blah blah, this and that. But you don't think it's important for someone, you don't know what they went through or what kind of life they had or anything of the sort that might carry on, most likely will carry on with them, right? But common sense will tell me that all that shit's irrelevant if you haven't established love with yourself, because nobody talks about it. You ain't gonna hear it in school, in the home. We're usually taught education is important. We jump to that shit before we hit morals, integrity, self-respect, and people say, "No, I was taught that. I was taught that." But clearly, we're looking at you right now, and it probably was suggested. But I mean, they indoctrinate you at school with so much their shit, so you can go out into this world in type of way. But how come ain't nobody push, installing like how we install education in our kids? How come we don't do that when it comes to respect, self-respect, loving self, character, you know what I mean, values, morals, and shit like that? How come you know what I mean, it's not installed like math and reading and education and shit? See what I'm saying here? Because we've seen many of intelligent, smart people go to prison. Okay, a lot of prisons have a lot of very intelligent people in them. Damn, they're geniuses. Okay, so that shit, education is pretty much useless if you don't have any of that shit, right? And so if you don't have any love, if you don't, have those things within yourself, then how are you out here trying to tell people, women and men, to be married and do this and that, and skip over you as yourself, you loving yourself? And I say this because if it's all about the having a family and supporting your man and all that stuff and being a good wife, vice versa, like a husband, then riddle me this, Batman. What about the lady that unalived her dude the other day? Black woman. Got married 216, knew each other since middle school, got like, I think like 2, 3 kids, and unalived him, I think on Facebook. Or she posted it on Facebook. And, because he was trying to leave the house because she thought he was cheating. And I think he said, or she think that he was bisexual or some shit like that. But you could see it on film. He's trying to get out of the place. He can't get the clothes. He called the police. They said they couldn't escort him. They're busy, I guess. I don't know. So he called his brother. He went on his own, had his brother on the phone. He's just trying to get his stuff and go. The mom's helping her out, being all aggressive and shit. And she went and got a gun. And then she said she didn't mean to, or afterwards, I don't know. It's crazy. And there's many other stories like that where, okay, so it's all about that. And then where does it go wrong when people are with people for like so many years and it ends like that? So that's why I think that people should probably sit down, stop trying to be out here schooling everybody or try to, just have a show. I don't think having motherfuckers would be talking about it if it wasn't a platform for it that they could monetize, right? And people are soaking it up or buying it. And I ain't buying the shit because I pay attention. And if I see you over here thinking the only entertaining parts of when you see someone schooling or trying to advise a woman is when they critique them or check them. And I say that because we saw that tremendously with the Kevin Samuel videos. That was the part that hyped men up, was when he would tear them down. These are facts. Tell me I'm lying. And I'm gonna tell me I'm lying. And just go ahead and tell me I'm lying. And it wasn't because you felt like they need to hear this. Y'all thought that shit was funny because a lot of these motherfuckers out here bitter. Because they got whole shows doing it. And I'm like, how long you going to keep talking about how many this for? You know what I mean? I understand that you're tired and you're hurt and you picked a lot of wrong ones because obviously it's not all women. So, and obviously you had to choose them because you keep saying the man chooses. So then you chose. Make up your mind. Which one is it? And if you chose, then take accountability and say, maybe I'm picking the wrong one. Same for women too. Maybe you're picking the wrong ones. All I'm saying is shut the fuck up and stop trying to tell people shit that you don't even goddamn pack. You don't even know. You gotta go sit down and make sure you're giving proper information. Do you know the psychology behind all this shit? Are you thinking about, when I hear men critique women like that have that have a few kids and they're not the father no more, and at that point they didn't care what the excuse is. Damn near it doesn't matter if he was dead or not. But just try to read her whole life and what she's worth and how she is and yada yada this and that. You know what? And I find that to be so disgusting and in the core of ignorance because we know we don't live in no fucking perfect world and none of majority of people wasn't brought up in even if it was a two parent. That's why I don't get when people be talking. It's like you just be talking just because you heard some shit. You just trying to you know regurgitate it and then speak it to make yourself sound knowledgeable because somebody that you thought was knowledgeable said it, but no one's thinking, right? Can't with all those chemicals in your fucking head. Okay, everything we inhale, put in our bodies, these medicines, these freaking everything, but people wouldn't know that because they don't reach the shit that we use, from food to lotions to soap to everything. I like to learn. I don't know why people find that to be. I don't know. But I tell you this much: just because you're of age, certain age, doesn't make you wise. Because I know some old motherfuckers. Man, I don't think that age just makes you wise. I think you seek wisdom. I think you seek knowledge. Then and experience. I've been around a long time. You've been around. You still don't know shit. So I see it. Doing the same shit, doing weird shit, doing shit that you should only be doing when you're a certain age. So please, please. Mm-mm. But once again, like I said, you don't know how that person was brought up, what they saw, what they didn't see. So either these men are just butthurt and being cruel, or they skipped a few courses before they decided they did it, that they got the okay from another YouTuber or wherever they put their shit on. That I could do this too, cause he right. Sat around some homies like, yeah, yeah. I'm like, no, no. Especially when it's nothing but negativity. That's when it's. I always tell people you lose your what's the word, credibility, or your whatever you was trying to do here. Once you start going in a pathway of basically tearing somebody down, you know what I mean? Or tearing a woman down, just breaking her down, talking about, oh, y'all weaves and y'all this. There's one guy, he just was like ragging on women and talking about y'all weaves and this, and that. And there was a chick on there with him too. And it was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, she just up here thirsty because she want to be talked about. She looks stupid because if anything, you shouldn't be up here as a woman saying like, you know what I mean? Kind of calling like women out, that wear those things or do those things or dress however they were saying, right? But I felt like she could have used that as an empowering moment to be positive and speak life into her sisters and shit like that. But when you go down that road of negativity, tearing people down, then you start picking at when you start saying things like that, that's when you're really exposed now and you've lost the battle because why do we feel like we have to tear people down or go there? That's when you know it's catty and petty and you're just mad, right? Because someone that truly cares and they want to help the situation, they're going to help the situation. They're not going to try to shame somebody or make them feel bad just because you are tired of being fucked over. You know what I mean? Those are like a whole situations that just need to be dealt with, like it's in therapy or something. I don't know, man, but this isn't a good look. And women are doing it too. They got whole hate rooms and shit like that where they're saying black men is worthless, like basically less than an ant. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, well, how do you, bitch, you must not ever plan on getting no man because nobody don't want this bitter shit. What good are they for? But what good are you for at this point? What good are you for? Seem a little mad, and I don't think anybody who wants to deal with that. It's not really becoming, it's not attractive. And what's the point, dummy? We have young kids out here you saying men are worthless, but yeah, we have young black men out here. So what are they? Bitch, I know you got a daddy. You probably even got a son. Some of them have sons. I know you got uncles and shit like that. So what are you saying right now? Sounds stupid. Just like when men say the stupid shit they say about black women. I'm like, but your mama's black. Go back to your corners and shut the fuck up. Okay? Because Master really put a number on you. Because both of the dumbasses, the groups, don't realize that both of y'all been played. Like, we know the black home and family was targeted and you know what I mean? And there was like an agenda. Oh, you have to be real something special not to know that shit. Right? But then you just can't ride on that shit all the time. When you know it, then what do you do about it? It surely isn't sitting on freaking social media tearing women and men down or going on online to voice to the world that black men are worthless. Like, who are you doing a favor to? Please don't tell me you go home at night and pray, talk about the love of the Lord, because I'm just going to laugh at your dumb ass. Because if you do, you know nothing of them. And these are facts, because what are you doing? But there's a whole younger generation out here. And if this was ever going to stop, you dumb motherfuckers is destroying it because who they have to look to. You're talking about how the home was destroyed and the two-parent home and this and that. But yeah, here we are destroying it even more. Even the men that think that they're not, because you over here trying to school this woman. It sounds silly because go be a man. Let it be. One of the dumbest things I ever heard was, and it was that fella, rest in peace, where it said that women are like children and some shit about can't let them do it. That sounds so dumb. It sounds so dumb because see, well, from where I come from, you know what I mean? I was raised by very great black women, educated and amazing women. I'm not even gonna say black because that's a whole other story about that word black, but y'all don't want no education, right? So I'm just gonna leave that for the ones that like to elevate their mentality, elevate in general, and not be walking around here like boo boo the fool, like some indoctrinated and Stockholm syndrome melanated person, like most are. We so ingrained into this to the colonization of this. I'm funny. Everything that we've learned and adopted that was given, we learned it from Europeans. You learned it from your grandma. My mom. Grandma was here. Oh, then you learned it from Europeans because my mom learned it from her, my mom, and if y'all was here, then that's where she learned it from. So, damn it, that boy just made me lose my. How do you do that? Like, do what you need to do something and get on. Don't just keep staring at me like trying to show me something because that breaks my concentration. How many years I've been doing this shit and he don't realize that shit. Anywho. But yeah, so we both have been. It's like we can't empathize with one another. It's got to be like a fight when it comes down to like black men and black women, especially these last 2 years. This has been awful to watch. And you know why it's been awful to watch? Because I can see it. Because we're always going to social media and doing shit out in the open. And like, I got to go shit on this motherfucker in front of everybody. So tacky and unbecoming, and probably why you have the issues you have. Right? You can be hurt and you can be upset. Because this is the thing. I completely get why men were uprising and feeling a certain type of way. Because I get it. I know. I see, right? How men and women could be, but I see how women could be. Because I've heard some crazy shit that they would say. I had one chick get on a live, I think it was in stereo, and she said, she just got on there, she was like, I don't know, but y'all think it's even worth it anymore with black men? Are they even worth it? Some shit she said, some crazy shit. And I said, well, first of all, if you're on here saying that shit, then I mean, like, why are you even on here? I think it was like in my head, like, why are you even coming here if that's where you at right now? And then the things she said afterwards, right, was kind of like, what the fuck? Yeah, yes, that's what she said. She was like, is it even worth it anymore? And I said, yeah, worth it. What do you mean? Are they not worth it? You know what I mean? Because to me, it's like that you came on here with this energy, or if it, then why, like, why are you even on here if that's how where you're at? Because to me, they ain't even worth it no more. I'm like, what does she mean? And I said, yeah, they're worth it. Because in my head, I'm thinking about my experience or me personal, whatever she dealt with, and she didn't deal with it, right? Obviously, it's only obvious. We only know what we experience. So those are your experiences. Then you have to include yourself in where did you fucking go wrong. Stop including your cousin's situation in the movies you watch, and cousin Pookie situation, and adding them with yours. Yeah, their situation might have been fucked up too, but that's not yours. You don't know how they really are in relationships or what that really is about. You know what I mean? So you can't really use somebody else's experience. You have to use your own, and you're there for each one of them. So you have to ask yourself what's the common denominator, or why does it keep happening again and again? I didn't don't. It's not a rocket science. It doesn't take. It's not. It doesn't take a rocket science, right? But I think a lot of people process other people's shit too. They don't just look at their own shit. They be looking at their cousin and his messed up baby mama and his cousin. You can't do that. I don't care how long you know your cousin or how much you've been around them, unless you in his ass literally. That's what you're saying. Then you just know that you know what I mean, the situation at hand, and that she's included on the list, but she can't be on your list because you didn't experience her. So on that note, so whatever that chick was talking about, I don't know. She was like basically saying black men weren't worth it anymore, and I was like, in my head, I'm thinking like, well, if you have just like that, like you, what do you expect them to when you say things like that, when you look at them like that, and there's no support, you know what I mean? Then what are you expecting? And then, what about our young men coming up, right? And our children and stuff like that. So I'm just like, this is out here some dumb shit. Like, are they worth it? Like, bitch, if you come to here like that, is that how you go into your dates or relationships or whatever? Because I don't get it. I would love to be a fly on the wall at that point, just so I can see that you're feminine and do you ever like let go, or is it always like, you know what I mean? Or do you get like that after? It's like the bitter stage. I'm just asking because I can assess it better, right? Do you get feminine and girly and let your man be man, or are you always just like on some shit? Because if you are, I wouldn't want to be with you either. Also, all to say it, like, I don't understand people, but once again, I understand that people don't even understand themselves. Because look at how this world is, and then look how homes were, families are. Nobody's perfect. Your parent raised you, their parent raised them in the best that they could, and there was no freaking handbooks or anything of this sort, right? And we spend a lot of time trying to play the wisdom part and say how it should, would, could be, and why this is happening because of the home and yada yada, this and that. But we really need to be focusing on today, right now, what we can do. And if we was, then we wouldn't be doing stupid shit like creating whole rooms that create hate and just make it worse for your community. Yeah, they don't need racism anymore because you shit on your own. So kudos to you. Gift that keeps giving. So, but yeah, that's how that thought came on when I heard Sebi say that stuff, and I was like, yeah, you're right. Because for either vice versa, either side, for the man or for the woman, like you shouldn't have to like depend. Like if you get married, it's fine, dandy. If you be married, you better be the best at it, right? Because that's marriage. So be a great wife, be a great husband, right? And people stay out of people's fucking business. And if it didn't work for you, you gotta ask yourself. But at the same time, if it doesn't work for people, we gotta stay out of people's business and stop judging people for why they're, how they have that whole statistic where they say that women push more for divorce than men. If that data is even true, you know what I mean? I can't say it's factual because I didn't do it. I haven't seen it personally, you know what I mean? And then common sense tells me that anything can be fabricated. So that's where my humility rolls in and say, well, according to this so-called, how Malcolm X would say so-called Negroes, so-called, data, right? Then, okay, I guess. But even so, we don't know why. And then there's some like that same group of guys, like one woman, I think she said she had left her husband or something, and it was like, why? And then she spoke of like violence, whatever, and it was like, and then she kind of went off, and she was like, well, shit, just I guess your mama was getting her ass beat or something like that, and he was like, and she still got her man, and I was like, wait a minute, he just said me to his mom getting beat, and she still got her man, so that just means your mom just stayed with a beater. Isn't that what that means? And can explain why the fuck you so disrespectful here to women. 2-parent home. That's what we're talking about. No. Clear that shit up. It's not the 2-parent home. It's the 2-parent safe, functioning, healthy home. See what I'm saying? When people just say shit, they don't even think about it. They don't clarify that shit. Cause let me say something. I'm just gonna say Jeffrey Dahmer had 2 parents. So, but I know he went black and all, but he liked black people. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm just saying, because you have a lot of people out here still. Nobody focuses on that because there's that narrative still, right? There's no sincerity. And that's where you can tell there's no sincerity in some people when they do talk about this thing, because it is a thing. Trust me, I know how important it is to have a man, especially the girl. No one talks about the girl, but for a girl and a boy, we missing a black man. But nobody thinks about the girl. Matter of fact, maybe the reason why you in here ragging on these certain bras right now, they probably was that girl. Yeah, you ever asked them, did their father leave the home? So we just so focused on the black man that you don't realize that the effects that it has on the black girl, the black boy, and the black girl could also be that too. Why you sitting up in here telling these broads that everything that's wrong with them and why, how they got in the situation of being single mom, that could have been it too. But so people, don't really think that. I guess that hasn't crossed their mind yet. So, yikes. Yeah, and they probably won't. And that's how sometimes you can tell the sincerity of somebody, because if it's just to just ride on that narrative, right, then that's things you're gonna say. And if you truly, truly are out here trying to educate and all those things, then you're going to consider those things and also do your research, but also understand. And you're going to understand that people that come from 2-parent homes doesn't mean makes them, like invincible against mistakes and anything else that could happen to the next person. Just like we've seen many of successful single parent home men and girls, women do great, right? And no, they don't always repeat they go off and get married. So you really can't call it. We just see like where the majority of it is happening. So we can just clear that up. You know what I mean, right? It's kind of like, say for instance, if you're writing a story, right? Or you're writing, if you're just writing a paragraph, writing a story, whatever, you're gonna go back and you're gonna put in your punctuation. You're not gonna just be like, okay, it's cool, they get it. Now you're gonna go back to your capitals and all this and that. Same thing. Go back, fix your shit up, brush it up, so it makes sense and it looks like, you know what I mean. If you're trying to help, then yeah, you go make sure that if you're really trying to send a message or help people or make people aware of something, then I don't understand why you wouldn't make sure that you're getting your point across the way that you're trying to get it across. If you're not going to care about how you're getting it across and you're wasting time and you're really not trying to help anybody, because you have to send information to people, especially verbally, to where they can receive it. And these are just facts. You don't see your teacher in the front of the fucking classroom, you know what I mean? Cursing and yelling at, you know what I mean? Like teaching you like in a crazy ass way. You know what I mean? Like they speak in a certain way. That's just, or at work with your boss or any of the sort. You have people receive information better when it's delivered in a very, just put it like this, delivery. My phone never rings. You always have it off. Sorry, guys. And this is the weird phone, the one I can't even see who's calling so after it hangs up. What's my password? Dun, 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 dun. Hold on. This phone is so weird. Okay. There. And okay, get to the app. Oh, I didn't know this text today. Okay. Well, I was gonna wind this down in a minute anyway. But yeah, your delivery matters, right? When you are trying to share, give information, it really does. If you don't think so, then please don't be out here giving out information. Okay. I'm gonna leave with this one example, right? So one time I was watching this live, and this chick, you could tell her she meant well though, right? But she probably was at her wit's end. I don't know. So she was trying to read like, I think the Torah or something to the people on the live, right? And then she had her book, and I remember she was like, "I told y'all stupid asses, but y'all don't want to listen." Right? And she's like reading the Bible to them and shit. And I was like, yo, teaching is not for everybody. Teaching is not for everybody. Okay, at this point, try time for you to just pack it up. Try again, go calm down, or just realize that you're not supposed to teach. Not everybody's supposed to teach. It really is kind of a skill. Trust me, I know. Did for 10 years. And then I saw others do it too and failed epically. And they were in it longer than I was. Okay? I saw some shit. It's not for everyone. Trust me. So yeah, that's like an example. Like, what are you doing? Nobody gonna listen to you. You're calling them stupid and shit because they don't get it. Or they in here trolling. I don't know. But all I'm saying is let it go. Um, challenge yourself. Ask yourself, do you even know what you're talking about? Challenge your beliefs. That's what growth is. If you don't ever do those things, you're not really growing. It's probably why you're probably the age you are and still think the same way you do, or you just feel a little off. I don't know. I feel like we should fine tune ourselves just like we do cars. And I don't mean getting asses and injections and shit. I mean your soul, your inner being. Okay. Everybody always focus on the outer and shit like that's going to do anything. Inside of you, who you are inside, whatever you do to the outside of you, adding shit, taking shit away, moving around, shifting it, completely changing it into something else, it don't really mean shit if you're not within, if you're not, you know what I mean? Well, because you're not really are, you're not what you're doing out here. Who are you inside? Who are you? What's your purpose? Like who are you? But we're always trying to look a certain way to define ourselves, and to me that just shows there's something off with loving, with self-love, but hey, what do I know? Just if I'm gonna, try to make the best of this life, and I feel like it's worth it to invest in the depths and the deepness of this world, not this surface shit, not this matrix, not this go to work, go to school, go to work. I'm no fucking robot, bro. God didn't put me here just for that. This is an experience, and we have a purpose, and it's beyond the one that this system gave you, when they gave you your certificate and all that great shit. Okay, so on that note, and then the church ain't gonna tell you that. Oh, don't come for me now, because I really wouldn't care if you did, because I can go with the best of them. Been there, done that. They're not gonna tell you nothing, but they don't even understand. You understand? But once you process that shit and ask yourself why you just believe everything somebody tells you, because they the pastor, but yet facts that they be lying, like literally facts. So please miss me with that shit, because you ain't gonna get nowhere. I don't play that dumb shit. I can't do the ignorance. So until next time, my friends and family, peace out. And go to this website that I'm about to give you. After you go check out my show, um, The Word Became Flesh, and then go to the website Yajujuda. Had a brain fart. Yajujuda.com. Promise you, I wouldn't say it if I didn't think you needed to go check it out, because it's time to stop playing fairy tale games. Just get your shit right. Peace out, everyone. God bless, and let it go. Let it all go and just start again, a fresh mind, and learn, because apparently the shit ain't working out. So